So the big question is this: how do investors like us who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Hey guys, John Moon here. Welcome to the Stock Market Series podcast. Super excited to bring you guys like a super special episode that I haven't done something like this in a long time. And it's so exciting because, oh my God, I'm back in the groove and it just feels amazing. And we're doing another bike episode, which is so fun. I remember I had these, for the whole summer. And now it's kind of November-ish, December-ish. And so it's it's a totally different game. I'm looking at everything so differently, from these months of college. I know it's sounds so weird, but it's whoa, man, it's a whole other world because everything, it's this mind shift, this paradigm shift, the whole world you're in totally changing once you get used to it, and how much more effective you can be, the moment that you are accustomed to the world around you and can adapt to it. It's just so crazy. But what I want to focus on today is something that I think kind of goes hand in hand with that, right? Because at least for me, I remember back in North Carolina, I would do these videos in my car. I would always be listening to podcasts in the car and just having a great time, having a big party all the time. And I also okay, that's kind of weird. But when I was doing these bike episodes, I never actually listened to audio for the first couple of months because we were waiting to publish until the book was ready and the funnel was ready and the free plus shipping and everything was super exciting because what I want is I don't want this to just be some kind of first of all, right, stock market series, the underlying psychology is huge, right? But I know that it's not just psychology, right? You also need the systems, you also need the strategies to really go out there and have that success. It's all a holistic game of financial education. So it's I really care about having this alongside the book, alongside the education, because together it's just so powerful, right? And so I was waiting, we aren't even done with it yet. But I've got, an editor on board, and I've got the writers, and, I'm just putting a team together to make it happen because, in all reality, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of whatever you launch, then, you really launched too late. And right now, the funnel's not even done, right? I mean, everything's done something first of all, none of the upsell videos are done. And the second course is still really deep into rendering. It's almost finished. I'm finishing up the last, it's a lot of work. So I'm finishing up some of the ending of the filming today, which is exciting. Not totally done, but hopefully we can get a pretty solid 10% done by the end of this weekend with I put in about 20 or 30 hours, which is exciting, which is fun. And what happened this morning is interesting. So I've been sort of accustomed and I'm getting used to this environment, right? Which is awesome, right? I'm going through cars right now and there's just giant tailgates everywhere. Everyone's having a huge party. It's game day. There's barbecues everywhere. It's just so much fun. Oh my God. This is funny. It's so cool. And it's I'm not huge football fan. It's just never really my thing. Love sports and everything. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just a lot of time. And so I don't know, it's just so much fun because now once, I remember when I first started, right? When you first start anywhere on your left, you don't have a footing, right? You don't have a ground, and so you don't really know what you're actually doing. And so it's tough to sort of go out, play around, experiment, and do your own thing until you feel comfortable, right? And so that's been a really big thing, is this idea of getting used to your environment and then being able to be flexible and adaptable and grow in the world around you, which is super cool. So with that said, I want to talk about this idea that came up this morning that was really interesting. So I'm on campus today and I'm coming back from the studio because, well, first of all, I kind of forgot some important legal documents last night. Last night was a pretty crazy night. It was pretty sweet. Still got to bed on time though, just for you guys, because I know I had a lot of work to come about this morning, which is super fun. Oh my God, so exciting. But so we kind of rushed out, and it's not you rush. Just forget stuff sometimes, right? So I forgot some important legal documents that we needed, and then I forgot, I don't know how I forgot this, but I forgot how to win friends and influence people. So how am I going to teach a little course on the book? How am I going to teach the book masterclass if I don't have the book? Which very quickly revealed that it just was not going to happen. So I'm back here today to get everything I needed to keep going, which is still super fun, super exciting, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to do it because so many people they don't even have the chance to go out there or make educational products or have an impact, and it sucks, right? Because when I was starting out, there's no way I could even dream of what I'm doing right now. But like, all you have to do is take that first step and make it happen. We're gonna have an exciting trip home. Okay, so like, here's the deal. So last week my bike went flat, and so I came to this bike pump to pump it up. And this is a good good lesson on like, and we'll get back to the other lesson, but this is a good one on like persistence, right? So my bike was flat because I'm like biking super fast, and basically what I do is I just like bike right into a curb. And usually, you bike into a curb and you go over the curb and you're solid, because you can lift up the front tire and everything works out. But the little challenge I had was that the back tire like slammed into the curb, and I was going pretty fast. So it's like, because you gotta go fast, right? And so the back tire popped, and we got the opportunity to fix the back tire, which was like super cool, but it's also a lot of work. So I was bikeless for a week. I was just kind of like, you guys heard the episode of the podcast earlier about running from place to place, which is so true. I remember just a couple of minutes ago, I was running from the dining hall back to the dorm, and as I'm sprinting across, it's not like it's probably like 400 to 500, maybe 800 meter pace. So it's like 90% of 40 meter dash pace. Wow, that's so cool. There's like a giant inflatable. Oh my God, these guys love football. And so I went running from, the food place over to the dorm so I can get the bike and then, come out here with you guys and go back home and then record that course. And, so as I'm running, there's this girl, and she's like getting out of the back of this car, and the car stopped, the car's parked, so I'm like running across the road, and there's nothing there, it's not a big deal. And she's like, "Why are you running?" And I'm like, I'm like 50 meters away from her. Maybe not 50, but like, I'm pretty far away from her by the time I like hear her, and I'm like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, you gotta go fast, right? Like, you only have so much time, and time is your most valuable asset, and yet people will like spend tons of money to save time in some areas of their life, right? So, for instance, there are like so many like bird scooters or lime scooters or whatever. Like, they're just like these scooters everywhere, and I love them. They're amazing. When I rode my bike, like, oh my God, they're so great because they save so much time. Getting from place to place on this campus is kind of like pretty big, right? And so it's like a half-hour walk, or a couple of bucks on a scooter. It's a no-brainer. It saves so much time. And yet people will spend money to save time sort of in that regard, but when they're looking at maybe shorter term stuff, or they're looking at like their like just walking, like walking away so much time. Like, if you're walking for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, like, that's insane. I'm trying to go slower for you guys because I was just reading the audio and it sounded like kind of muffled for a while, so I'm being careful. But it's all comes down to this concept. Oh gosh, see, I don't know, like, this is pretty loud for me, but like the mics, I don't know. I'm gonna get a better mic for you guys, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing, I promise. Or we'll just do more episodes in the studio. But this one I think was important because I had this one thing I want to talk to you about that I sort of realized this morning, and it's this concept of thinking about the events that pop up in your life that maybe, aren't exactly what you want, right? And so maybe you have, this morning I ran out of hair gel. So, like I said, I got like some more hair gel in my backpack that I just snagged, and so I just had to come back to school and like get that hair gel, right? Because guys, I hate to say it, but like, when I don't have hair gel, I look like I kind of look like a 12-year-old, and I know some people would tell me like I already look like a kid, and so like me without hair gel is just like a formula for looking like a preschooler. Which I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I try to shave, so like, I don't know, man. But like, I can't record this course without hair gel. I'll look like I'm like 8, which is pretty. It's pretty funny. So I come back here and I have to get those papers and whatever, right? It's super cool. But like the big mindset shift and the big paradigm shift to sort of get from this is that you don't want to look at, the challenges in your life as problems, right? Because when I label something as a problem, when I say, oh, I don't have hair gel, that's a problem. When you label it as a problem, it's such a terrible mindset state to be in, right? Because you want to what? You want to avoid negativity at all costs, right? And you want to fill your mind with positive energy, right? Positive vibes, and you use those to fuel like tons and tons and tons of growth and development, sort of in like all aspects of your life. It all comes down to having positive energy and positivity. And so, like, it's really, really, really bad. And so, when you frame challenges as problems, what it does is, if you're an individual, if you're in a group environment, let me get off the road here. Okay. Now all of a sudden people, you or your team, they're like, oh, we can't do this. This is a problem. Oh, this is awful. Oh, this is terrible. This is such a bad thing we have to deal. And that's the wrong mindset to go into things with, because you've only got one life, right? And so you want to focus on like things that you're passionate about, things that you enjoy. And sort of every piece of work that I strive to do, and every piece of work I think most people should strive to do, it shouldn't feel like a chore. It feel like something that you get to do. I'm so happy that I get to do this today. I get to, come back here and record a podcast with you guys and just have a great time. And honestly, I think it opened a whole lot of doors for me, because I was, what was the name of it? It was Yahoo Finance, right? I'm sitting on my phone and, I'm looking through stocks this morning. And just having an amazing, amazing, amazing time. Looking at a lot of tickers, because there were some nice swing trades. I found one trade today on OEG. I'm so excited for it. They're like this huge energy company. And the reason that I found that company, OEG, was because of this notification I got on my phone when I was looking through Yahoo Finance. The notification was, hey, check out this cool thing about the CEO of this energy company. I'm like, okay, dude, that sounds cool. And it turns out to be a new podcast from Yahoo Finance, or at least from their studios, which is like ridiculously cool. It's so cool. It's called Illegal Capital, I'm pretty sure. And it's for Yahoo Finance. It's like they've got like 3 episodes right now, so they're like just launched, like brand new. And it's so cool because like they tell this story about like the CEO and how he went through all this fraud, and like it's so cool and so much to learn, and just an amazing, at least so far, it's just been awesome, right? And so on the way here, I got to listen to like the first 3 episodes, like the little segment that they had about this CEO who literally was like one of the best financial salesmen on the planet, and was able to market his company on Wall Street to literally sell $150 billion in debt for the company, and to raise so much money in the oil fracking industry, when in reality, like, he wasn't really making like his companies, at least, like they weren't like actually making. It was really interesting. Highly recommend it. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. It's really good. And it's just this idea of what it sort of brings up is this question of, most people, at least when they start out on Wall Street, it's like, are you looking at sort of, investing for growth or investing for speculation? Because everybody that invested in this guy and in his companies, like, it was all speculation, right? And they had interviews with some of the bankers that were sort of investing with them. And these bankers, they would literally say that they thought this guy would always be right. And it reminded me of this situation. Thank you. About 2 years ago with Laser Online. It was one of the Ponzi schemes, kind of like, what was it? BitConnect, yeah, kind of like BitConnect in the cryptocurrency crash. And it sucks because I hadn't thought about this before. Like, I know guys that literally lost like multi-6 figures in BitConnect. And oh my God, just awful Ponzi schemes. And oh man, I think it really did some damage to crypto in the short term. I mean, you can see the results. I mean, it's devastating when it's done to investors' portfolios globally. Whoa. We good? I think we're good. Are we good? I think we're good. Like I said, that I gotta be a little bit careful here because one of my tires is not particularly inflated, but I think we're okay. I think I can make it home with you guys. And there's a pump at home. There's just no pumps anywhere else that I know of. And so here's what happened, right? This guy, he would come and he would pitch his company. His company, like, they didn't really make any money. They would just take out. He would raise like hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, selling, shares and stock and debt to investors, and he would like personally guarantee some of it even. And he would take that money and he would open up, oil fracking rigs, and he would just frack oil in the States. And what he did is he like bought land that basically 10x multiplied multiples the market rate, and just like severely overpaid for like everything, so that he could own like all the land everywhere and completely dominate the oil fracking industry. Which is interesting because, like, the wells of the oil frac refineries, like, they only lasted for a very, very short period of time. They had a turnover rate of about 1 to 3 years. So, like, it's like building a factory and then the factory explodes after 3 years. I mean, that's basically what happened. And it's really cool. Like, I recommend you check it out. It's super fun. And there's so many amazing things that came out of that. And I think sort of the biggest thing was, like, this guy was literally able to just sell himself. And because of what? Because of his social skills, right? Because of his people skills. Because he was able, excuse me, to convince Wall Street investors. So something that Laser Online did that made them, $100 million plus in a big Ponzi scheme. And what they're able to do is he basically convinced these guys that he was fracking natural gas, and so he was sort of in the commodity business, right? And his business was so unprofitable that they were, like, literally at points in time, they were, you're good, nice board. They were like beekeepers. Like, they had beekeepers as a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar conglomerate oil or natural gas fracking company, because they literally made no money, and they would put like $100 million or $1 billion into a deal, and the deal would just like they would just return like that exact amount of cash, and it would literally net them nothing. And so they had like no returns on investments. But Wall Street kept doing it. Why? Because they raised $26 billion directly from Wall Street. And so, like, if you look at the financial firms, like, they got, net about $1 billion just in, like, fees to make it happen. And so it's this idea that these guys have conflicting interests, right? And they are literally making billions of dollars selling shit to investors. And it crushed. I mean, the stock went from $60 to 75 cents. It was just, it was pretty good if you were shorting it. But for most people, maybe 10-20% of the people shorted it. Most people got ganked, and it just sucks for the individual investor to see that happen. But anyway, I was listening to this story, and oh my gosh, it was so interesting. This guy, it starts off, the way they started off is basically like, he dies like right after the court like convicts him of some kind of like charges for financial securities or fraud, or it was actually like monopoly or monopolistic practices or stuff like that. It was definitely recommend you guys check it out. And so the thing is that though is this guy, he was doing some pretty awesome stuff in the fracking industry, and he really helped the American economy by decreasing the cost of gas, which is awesome. I was also doing a little bit of sketchy stuff, right? And he was literally like constantly raising money and just getting super, super, super excited about like just ganking, a lot of people. And, a lot of people made money with him too. And it comes back to this concept of a Ponzi scheme, right? And so with Laser Online, with that example, okay? Or with BitConnector, with any of these Ponzi schemes, right? And it's not like it was a Ponzi scheme, right? Like, he was running a legitimate public company. They just didn't like make money, and he just kept raising more and more and more and more. It was really interesting. The idea is like, people at the beginning, they come in and they invest and they make money based off people that come in later, and the people that come in later invest and they make, they take their money from the new investors, and that's how they get their return. And so what was interesting about this example with this CEO guy is that his company was in, the natural gas industry. And so they were mining a commodity, right? And so as the commodity prices, varied, their profits varied significantly, right? And even when when natural gas was ridiculously overpriced, they still weren't able to turn a profit. So just an overall unprofitable venture. But what's interesting is that some of these big institutional investors, they thought that they could trade this CEO like he was a commodity. And they could make an investment in him knowing full well that he was more than likely going to go bankrupt, because throughout his career, he basically went bankrupt like, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And he would bet like everything that he had on himself, right? Literally like all of his net worth, all of his his savings, all of his business's savings. Like I said, he was personally guaranteeing a lot of this debt. So like his money was on the line. He was on the line for literally billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, which is just insane. Oh my God, I can't even imagine like the pressure of that, or like how much like willpower. Like he's just really, really, really impressive guy. And what these guys would do, what these investors would do on Wall Street, is they would say, okay, look, we know this guy is probably going to go bust. Just like most Ponzi schemes, just like Laser Online. Remember, I invested in Laser Online, not drunk, but like a 5 to 7% position. And I doubled my cash on it, I'm pretty sure. It was a while ago, but it was double, yeah. Over the course of like 2 months. And like going into it, like you know that crap, you know that like this is a scam, and someone's gonna get screwed here. And it sucks because at the time in crypto, like there was just no regulation for this stuff, and it's the exact same. At least it was the exact same sort of in this fracking industry. And that's why, at the end of it all, he was sort of going to court to like deal with all this stuff because the banks and the Wall Street guys are basically like the core regulators of this man and of him making money, and they were making money, the more money that he made. So there was like this conflict of interest where they're not going to stop him, and the regulators aren't going to stop him either. And so it's just him like hemorrhaging money that eventually would just go to like investments that did not return. But his social skills outweighed the poor financials or the poor fundamentals of the company, and they allowed him to continued raising more and more and more money, even after he like literally showed no returns, which is just insane. And so what they did is sort of like when I got into this Ponzi, right, which is like super sketch, like really, really, really sketch. So you got to be careful. Like, oh my God, thankfully there aren't many Ponzi's. Hopefully there won't be like any like other big ones. I know like BitConnect was huge. I mean, that was like, I'm pretty sure hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, was just destroyed, which is just awful. Let me get over this curb, and then I'll sort of go through like the overarching principle to learn here. Ooh, okay. And that's exactly how these investors saw the CEO. They didn't see him as a real investment. They saw him like he himself and his company was like a Ponzi, right? And so they thought if they could just get in early, they could get in at the beginning and sell before he, went bust, or if he got to the top, or he went bankrupt, then they could make money. They could, buy at the bottom and sell at the top before everybody got scammed and all the money disappeared. Just like, a Ponzi, which is so crazy because they were betting on a person, not a financial asset, not a company. It was him that they were betting on. And it's this idea of like, you can sort of directly influence the way that people look at you in the marketplace and directly affect the amount of value that they perceive in you. In this guy, right? The amount of value that he was perceived to have ranked up in literally hundreds of billions of dollars in the amount of unsecured financial debt, or at least hundreds of millions of dollars. Like he had minimum $500 million just like of unsecured debt, like on his name. And so his butt was like on the line. It was all him, which is just insane. And that money, right? Like multi-6, multi-7, multi-8, multi-9 figures. It came from what? It came from nothing more than his ability to persuade others and his social skills, which I just think, that's like ridiculous cool. Like, holy crap. And so that's why I'm like super passionate about the social skills course I'm like working on right now. Because I think it's like so good. Like, what? And definitely cool. And something I discovered today that I totally would not have discovered had I not left my hair gel at school. And so it comes back to our core debate here and our core issue, which is to not look at challenges as problems, but rather see challenges as challenges. And challenges as challenges shifts everything. And you go from a state of negativity, you go from a state of destruction, you go from, whoa! You go from a place where you're fearful and worried and nearing failure to a place of opportunity. Because what are challenges? Challenges are opportunities for you to come together with yourself, with your group, with your team, and have an impact and make a change that'll be lasting and significant. Because challenges, they're a place where you can grow. And yet, they're literally the exact same as problems. The only difference is how you classify it. So instead of looking at maybe negative things that happen or issues that pop up as problems, like that's bad stuff. Instead, focus on them as challenges. Like I said, this man, he went bankrupt, 4-6 times, and he was facing like just destruction of everything he had. And yet he was started as, a millionaire, and then a multi-millionaire, and then 100-billionaire. Then he got to a billionaire, and then he got to a multi-billionaire, then he got to 100-billionaire. It was like on the Forbes 400 wealthiest people on the planet. And the way he did that was by simply persisting in the face of danger, right? You have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep succeeding. And as soon as you can do that, like it's all just positive growth from that point forward. Because what this man didn't do is he didn't see a problem and then quit. He didn't see a problem and then say, oh, I can't solve that. He didn't see a problem and say, that's freaking impossible. I'm going to stop everything. No, what he did is he saw a challenge. And he said, you know what? I think I can overcome this challenge and have success. That's exactly what he did. Arguably, the guy, sort of a sad story. He died in a car accident because he didn't have a seatbelt on, which, guys, you might have heard the podcast earlier where I fell off my bike and, slammed my face open, which really, really hurt. And I got, the scar. It's just... And that comes from what? Not being protected. You've got to protect yourself physically, but more importantly in all aspects of your life. That comes down to stop losses. That comes down to profit target. Well, not as much profit, but stop losses, right? You need to know your risk and then protect against your risk. You look at some of the largest, multi-billion-dollar companies on the planet. What are they doing? If they're operating internationally, they are hedging their currency risk with contracts in Forex markets, right?
Want more stock market secrets? If so, you'll get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You can get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses it took me years to uncover, completely for free at 9tonoonsecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% per trade daily.